Don't do it, little bro. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Alright, so Austen August is nearing an end, and I've been kind of failing on the video front this year. It's been a combination of not having time, and when I have the time, it being too dark or overcast to make filming worth it, because it's just gonna look like crap. So, sorry about that. But today, I have another Austen video for you, and apparently the entire thing's gonna shake, because Kimba won't stop it! Hey, 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 hey. Don't give me that look. Oh my god! Oh my gosh. Just look at him though. He's so perfect and he knows it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at him. Look at those paws. They look like a heart underneath. I don't know if you can see. And he's purring and purring. Oh, I just love him. So many of my videos involve cat interruptions. Sorry if you're the 1% of the internet that doesn't like cats, but for the rest of you, you're welcome. So, as I was saying, today's video is a first impressions of Darcy in Wonderland by Alexa Adams. This should be a pretty quick video, she says, knowing that her videos are never quick, but I'm not going to do an excerpt of this one like I normally would because there is already an excerpt up for Austen August, so I will link that below if you want to get a feel for the style, but I'm going to get straight into my thoughts. So as you would probably guess by the title and the crazy cover, this is a mashup of Pride and Prejudice and the Alice in Wonderland books by Lewis Carroll. This isn't, I should clarify, it's not quite a mashup of Pride and Prejudice because the events of that story have already happened. So this is after Darcy and Lizzie have gotten together, got married, had kids, and Alice, the youngest of them, you know, she does her Alice things. And that is kind of the basis of the story. I'll leave the full synopsis below so you can find out the much more eloquent version of the story, but that's all you really need to know. Now, what I normally do in a first impressions is read about the first 25 or 30 pages. In this, I did it a little differently. I read more than that, partly because I wanted to get a feel for the Wonderland side of the story, which obviously it takes time for them to get to Wonderland. So I kind of skipped around and read bits and pieces throughout the book, but also I read more than that just because it was readable and I was sitting outside and the other cat was laying on me cuddling and we just had a nice calm day, and I looked down and I was like 45 pages in and hadn't even started skipping around to like other bits. So I read a fair amount for this first impressions. Not the story straight through, so I can't give you a full review, but my initial thoughts. God, that is the longest preamble to what I'm trying to get to. So, my thoughts. I think if you are a fan of retellings and mashups, you'll really like this. I kind of love the idea, not just of Alice going to Wonderland and getting a new take on Alice's journey there, but of Darcy going to Wonderland. I think that could be really, really fun to explore and to see him kind of in an area that his natural, you know, persona, his nature, would kind of be so out of place in, you know, the very buttoned up version of Darcy. Has come a long way in Alexa Adams retellings, but I mean, he's still Darcy, so seeing him kind of have to deal with the whimsy and the absurdity of Wonderland can make for a lot of fun. And I think that Alexa melded the tones really well. She melded the slightly more formal Regency style of Jane Austen with some of the whimsy of Lewis Carroll. Now, I've talked before about how I judge whimsy pretty hard. I think it is one of the hardest things to do. People tend to go really over the top with it and become very cheesy. Stop it! Oh my gosh, why? we're just gonna do this. Am I in focus anymore? Do you know? I don't know. So as I was saying, I think people tend to go really over the top with whimsy, and it just becomes so... it's just bad. It's just bad whimsy, you know? Really cheesy and really trying way too hard. You know, whimsy needs to be a little bit more effortless and just light. It should have a feeling of lightness to it, I think. I would rather someone err on the side of not being quite whimsical enough than being so over the top that, like, you just have to put it down because you're like, I can't take this anymore. This is too much. Alexa never goes in the direction, from what I read, of being too much. I think she pulls from Lewis Carroll's whimsy and absurdities, but because it's kind of tempered with the Regency style, it has that lightness, and it has that kind of fun, playful contrast without ever being too much. Oh yeah, you're cute. I know you're cute. The internet knows you're cute, buddy. I know, my baby. As you would probably guess from the fact that I said that I was just sitting outside reading a little bit and suddenly I was much further in than I intended to be, it's a very quick read. I think it's something that you can fly through very quickly. Part of that is the formatting, which I'm going to touch on in a minute, but also it's just an engaging, readable story. There's an ease to it. I don't think that you really need to be familiar with Pride and Prejudice or Alice in Wonderland, though who isn't familiar with Alice in Wonderland, honestly, in order to enjoy this. I think anyone could pick this up and read it. I don't know, you know, as I haven't read the whole thing, I don't know how crazy it gets. Are you fascinated? What are your thoughts? So from my perspective, it's one I'm going to keep going with and we'll probably review next year, and it is one I would recommend. I think it's a really fun and unique concept to blend the two, and I think they weirdly work really well together, and I think the style is just a lot of fun. Before I get into my one drawback, I do want to touch on the fact that it is illustrated by Ms. Adams' sister, who does amazing illustrations. I'm going to leave a link below to her work because I was just going through it in awe. It was so, so good. Really, really liked it. In this, she does really kind of simple line style drawings of, you know, the more wacky bits that are very reminiscent of the classic illustrations you think of when you think of, you know, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. There aren't a ton of them. They're just kind of peppered throughout, and they complement it. It's nice. So, wanted to point that out, and I will show them to you. Just gotta put this little man down. So things like this, kind of the classic, very simple, just lightly quirky line drawings. Now, my one drawback in this was actually the formatting, and it just kind of messes with my eyes. So there are really big gaps in between the paragraphs, and there are no paragraph indents. And you know, we're creatures of habit. So reading a book without those, it was just kind of like slightly grating on me. The wide formatting, though, I think does help you fly through it a little quicker. You know, there's some dead space, so each page you're going to get through a lot quicker. A lot of it is also conversation too, and you tend to fly through dialogue faster than you do exposition. But yeah, that's just kind of my one drawback, because I'm not a huge fan of the formatting, and even the sort of wide justification of it. It just looks like a manuscript to me, and it doesn't look like a finished book. But that's it, and that's nothing to do with the story, so don't do it. Don't do it. Stop it. He's climbing, literally climbing on the tripod. Good God. So, that is what I thought. My first impressions of Darcy in Wonderland by Alexa Adams. As I said, the synopsis and the links to the book can be found in the description, as well as a link to an excerpt over in Austen and August, so go check that out there. Hi, buddy. I'll leave a link to the Austen and August main page as well, because all of the giveaways are still live and will be live until the evening of the 6th. So if you haven't gone to enter, do so. I'm pretty sure that all of them this year are international, so I got you covered, world booze. Go check those out. But that's all for now. Thank you guys for watching this video that probably turned out a lot longer than I intended because of surprise guest, but until next time, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, happy reading. Say bye. You're not gonna say bye after you stole the show? Say bye!